Okay, I'm going to be showing you how to color the leaves today because we're going to use a very specific technique for this. And we want our leaves to have a few different kind of colors in them. These are fall leaves, so they're changing. And I did some practice ones and I think I kind of figured out the best way to do it. So I am looking at maybe yellows. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this all through kind of the center. And you're going to notice that it's not easy to get it right close to the glue. And that's okay because we have a trick we're going to use in a minute. But I'm putting some yellow over here, and then I'm deciding what color do I want to blend into, and I'm thinking some orange maybe. And I know those are right next to each other on the color wheel. I know they're going to blend together really well. Here's the trick though. If I were to jump across the color wheel and put green and orange together, which are not next to each other, there's a color between them, what would happen is it would make brown. And brown's okay for fall leaves. So we don't have to go exactly according to the color wheel this time. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some water and a paintbrush. And these paintbrushes are new, so some of them are kind of hard. There we go. And I'm going to start with just one of my colors. That's what I kind of figured out worked best. This one I didn't do that and it ended up really muddy, but this one I did. So I'm going to start by putting some water just on that yellow, and that's going to allow it to look more like paint, and I can get it into all those little spaces that it didn't want to go into before. And if I accidentally get some orange, that's okay. No big deal because we want these to kind of blend together. But I'm starting with getting that yellow, white, wet, and making sure it gets in all the white spaces. And I have to dip my brush in the water several times. When you see me the brush disappear, that's what I'm doing, because the chalk is so dry, it's going to dry up that brush. So now I'm going through all of my orange, and I'm kind of wanting it to blend into my yellow a little bit. So I'm going right on top of my yellow, just like we did with oil pastels. When we went and overlapped them, it kind of helped. And if I feel that's just not colorful enough, because that's what I'm kind of thinking. I feel like I can see a lot. It's not very colorful. I can come back in here and add more. Maybe this time I want to add a little bit of red even to the edges. And it's okay to do this when the paper's wet. You don't want to press super hard when the paper's wet. And some of you, if you're in 7th grade, we did a chalk last year, a chalk drawing where we purposely got the paper wet before we colored, but we ended up ripping some of the paper, so that's why we want to be very kind of careful. So I'm going to finish that leaf off. Looks good. Go on to my next leaf, do the same thing. Color it with chalk first, whatever colors I decide, then get it wet, blend those together. We're going to do the background too, and I'll give you a couple options for that, so just ignore it for now. And let's say, I know you're going to ask me, what if I want to do purple leaves and blue leaves? And I don't really care what colors you do, but one important thing to note about color is if I have only one thing that's that color, and I do have that right now, that becomes the focal point. So right now you're looking at these leaves, one of them is popping out more than the others, right? This one, because it's the only one that's green. So if I don't want this to be the only one that gets the attention, I have to make sure I have some green in a few other spots. So if you use blue, you have to have some blue in a few other spots. Okay, what I want to see is that you're trying to blend colors from one color to another, the way we did in this one, and the way I did in this one, and that you are, taking your time, showing care and craftsmanship. That's about it. Color is up to you.